Hello, everyone. This is Craig from NGP Van and Every Action. I am joined by Josh Nelson from Civic Shout and also my colleague Michael Murray from Every Action NGP Van. So this is the list building and engagement with petitions. And we're really happy to be joined by Josh. We'll do introductions in just a second here. We're going to discuss Josh's platform, Civic Shout, and how that integrates with Every Action and how you communicate through our tools after people are coming in through Civic Shout. So this is going to be really fun. Just real quick, this is our agenda. We're going to talk about why petitions, why use them as a source of list building and engagement. And in particular, growing your email list with Civic Shout and Josh's application. So we're going to discuss that. And then we'll end up the webinar with integrating with Every Action and showing how you can use the work that you've done with Civic Shout to continue engaging and communicating with your contacts. So that's our agenda. So now we'll do some quick introductions. So Josh Nelson is the CEO of Civic Shout, and he's going to be covering a good part of how his application is used. And I'll turn it over to you, Josh. Go ahead.
Thanks, Craig. And thanks to everyone for joining us today. As Craig mentioned, I'm Josh Nelson, CEO of Civic Shout. We're a platform that helps progressive nonprofits and Democratic campaigns grow their opt-in email communities. I've been working in digital for more than 15 years now, including as vice president at Credo Mobile, digital director for Al Gore's nonprofits, and as a consultant or vendor for hundreds of nonprofits and campaigns. I spend all of my time now helping nonprofits and Democratic campaigns grow their email and SMS communities.
Great. Thank you, Josh. Michael, solutions engineer with Bonterra. Go ahead, Mike, quick intro.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Mike Murray. I'm a solutions engineer, as Craig said. I've been at Bonterra / Every Action / NGP Van for about 5 years now. Before that, I worked in progressive politics and the labor movement. So excited to be talking with you all today.
Great. Thank you much. My name's Craig. I'll be just working as an admin here, maybe some additional commentary on some of the stuff that Josh talks about when it relates to Every Action and NGP. Most of the Democratic committees, which we have a lot on, will be familiar with NGP, of course, which is our political tool. Every Action is our nonprofit tool, very similar. So happy to see you all here, and it's great to work with you all. I see some people here who I have worked with, and Josh, I've worked with a lot of your Credo compatriots in a lot of different campaigns. So it's a small world we all work in. So why petitions? Why use petitions as a means to engage and grow your email list? Josh is going to take over and walk us through the platform.
So petitions are the most ethical, sustainable way to build your email community at scale and keep it engaged for the long haul. Today, I'm going to share 5 reasons why I think petitions are the best way to build your email list. I'll then share some details on how you can use Civic Shout to do just that. First, I want to talk a minute about the importance of opt-ins. When you are building your email list, it is absolutely vital to only send bulk emails to people who opted into your list. By opted in, I mean they completed a form, typically online, with disclaimer language, making it clear that by doing so, they'll be added to your email community. When people intentionally sign up to receive your emails, they tend to be highly engaged. That means they open, click, take action, and donate at much, much higher rates than people who didn't opt in. It's the opposite of spamming people, which is something you shouldn't do under any circumstances. There are a number of reasons you shouldn't spam. If someone didn't sign up for your email list, they probably don't want to receive your emails. That means they're less likely to do all the things you want them to do, from easy things like opening, clicking, and signing petitions to harder things like voting, volunteering, or donating. If people don't want to receive your emails, it also means they're more likely to report them as spam, which can hurt your deliverability and put your entire email program at risk. Crucially, sending email to people who didn't sign up to your list also violates Every Action's terms of service. Another reason petitions are great for list growth is that they allow you to acquire like-minded supporters who share your priorities. That's because when people sign up, they're telling you in that exact moment that they agree with you on the topic of the petition. So for example, an environmental group might want to do a petition thanking the EPA for announcing a plan this morning to phase out toxic forever chemicals. Or an abortion rights group might want to do a petition calling on Walgreens to stand up to anti-choice Republicans. I sometimes see organizations try to use a petition topic that is trending in the news, but really isn't central to their work. While this can help you grow your email community faster, it often leads to acquiring new supporters who aren't aligned with your mission. That doesn't help you much, since they're likely to unsubscribe or simply engage at lower rates than you'd like to see. I always recommend using petitions for acquisition that are squarely within your wheelhouse, ideally even something you're planning a broader campaign around. That way you know they'll be receiving similar content from you moving forward, and that it's likely to be content they care about based on the subject matter. So, as I mentioned a moment ago, when you use a petition to grow your email community, you know exactly what your members care about the moment they sign up. That allows you to send timely follow-up emails, either with next steps on the same advocacy campaign or with a related fundraising ask. It turns out you can also use petitions to learn about your existing email community. By sending petitions out on a variety of topics within your area of focus, you can learn who on your email list cares about specific subtopics the most. I recommend tagging folks accordingly so you can follow up with them on the specific topics they care about as appropriate. For example, it often works very well to follow up with petition signers with an email asking them to make a phone call to a decision maker on the same topic, or perhaps an email asking them to donate to support your work on that topic. Fourth reason, petitions are the only viable option to acquire opt-ins at scale. I've been growing and managing multi-million person nonprofit email lists since 2007. In that time, petitions are by far the best way I've found to get a large number of people to raise their hand and say, yes, I care about this issue and I want to hear more about it. It's true that petitions are not the only way to get people to sign up for your email list. You can also use things like surveys, quizzes, or sign-up forms. But in my experience, the scale that's possible with petitions far exceeds what can be done with those other sign-up mechanisms. So petitions are often the best way to go. Last but not least, petitions are also a fantastic tactic for keeping your email community engaged and avoiding fundraising fatigue. They're a relatively low bar ask that tend to generate high response rates, which offers a huge boost to your email deliverability. And they're great for mixing up the types of content you send, helping avoid fundraising fatigue, which is what happens when you send too many fundraising emails without enough emails offering other ways for your members to get involved. So to recap, petitions are a great way to grow and engage your email community for 5 reasons. 1, they're an opt-in list growth mechanism as opposed to spamming. 2, they help you acquire like-minded supporters who share your issue priorities. 3, they're the only way to acquire opt-in supporters at scale. 4, they help you learn more about your existing email community so you can keep it engaged. 5, they keep your community engaged and help avoid fundraising fatigue. I want to pause there to see if we have any questions.
We had one question from James come in now, Josh, in the chat. How can we find email addresses for names on Van that do not have that information?
Yeah, so that's something, you can reach out to those folks if you have their phone number, and ask them for their email address, ask them to opt in. Another thing that folks do is use targeted ads, right? So if you use create a list, you can create a search and then target those folks with ads on something like Facebook to get them to sign up so that they'll start receiving emails.
This works really well. Distributed organizing campaigns at scale. When we move things over from Van into minivan and we're doing canvassing, we teach canvassers that when you get to certain people and they express interest, we're able to pull those email addresses. We might even pull additional phone numbers and cell phones that might not be in the system or new and updated information. And minivan kind of makes it easy to do that. We could then sync that information back to NGP or Every Action or another CRM tool that you might be using for further communication. So we've done that at scale. Certainly, if you're running a state party and you have the means to do that, that can be helpful that way. I just wanted to really tag on to your last one, avoid fundraising fatigue there, Josh. Also, I noticed after the 2016 campaigns or during the 2016 campaigns, it was so much fundraising effort was focused at Stop Trump and, that kind of stuff, which worked well. For a brief period of time when I was with Pennsylvania Democrats working on email and digital tools there, we shifted to a lot of petitions, trying to gauge and segment our list based on what was really important to them and what people across Pennsylvania were prioritizing. And we were able to limit the number of pure fundraising emails we sent because we didn't have a required link, but after the petitions, when people filled it out, we actually gave them the option to do other things. They would land on a landing page and then they had the option to do other things. And people actually took on their own accord the option following the petition to donate more often than we had in the past. And that was kind of an eye-opener for us, where rather than just sending, hordes and hordes of fundraising emails, which we all, tend to do sometimes in certainly on the political side of things. But it was actually really interesting to see that changeover from the response on the petition side, which we did not expect.
Absolutely. I'm seeing a couple other questions here. One in the chat: is it possible to not email supporters and still have their support? I think so. I would say that in order to, consider somebody a member and in order to engage them in an ongoing way, you do have to have, some way to regularly contact with those individuals, right? And so email is a channel that a lot of, nonprofits and state parties and folks like that use. You could also use text messages. You could also use snail mail or a Facebook group or other channels. I've found email to be a great channel that works at scale. And that allows you to, to reach people directly and put a message or an ask directly into their inbox.
Yeah, and along those lines too, exactly as Josh saying there, you have to have some means of communication, right? Whether you're pulling that from the voter file, whether you're pulling it from your own database in every action or some other means, if you're doing peer-to-peer texting, if you're doing broadcast texting. We've seen campaigns and parties at the state, local level, county level, use those different means. Like Josh said, email at scale has been great. To the extent that you have the information and you have the opt-ins, texting, both broadcast and peer-to-peer, have been a great way to identify supporters, whether you're on the nonprofit side or even on the voter identification side, and then syncing those responses back to it. Arturo is asking, what if you're a one-man campaign? That's, listen, I mean, the software is there. It makes it easier and more efficient, but being a one-person campaign is very tough. You have to prioritize your time and what you need to do, right? So whether you're running a nonprofit campaign, a capital campaign, a political campaign, you have to understand what your goals are. You have to understand the critical path to those goals, and then you have to prioritize your time to understand what you can reasonably get done and what's most important. And all those other things that you can't get done yourself, you need to find support for. There's no real easy way there. Friends, family, kind of beg, borrow, and steal to get that support. So I think that's really important. All right, let's move to the next step. Josh, do you want to, please feel free to keep asking questions. We'll keep answering them. Josh, do you want to jump into the Civic Shout side of it?
Absolutely. Yeah, that sounds great. And I'm just going to address one question that popped up in the Q&A as well that from Sue. How do you get the initial opt-in to an email list? And Michael's got a great answer there in writing, but that's what we're going to talk about right now. So Civic Shout is a great way to get that initial opt-in to the email list using Petition. Now that we've talked through why petitions are the best way to grow your opt-in email community, I'm going to show you how you can do exactly that using the Civic Shout platform. But before we get started with the demo portion, I do want to share details on an incredible opportunity to grow your email list for free with Civic Shout's Spark Mini Grant. With the Spark Mini Grant, nonprofits can acquire 1,000 free opt-in supporters each and every month. Just think, by using Spark every month, you could acquire 12,000 new supporters over the course of the year. That's a $15,000 value, and it's completely free of charge. Spark is one of the ways Civic Shout gives back to the progressive community. It's only available to 501c3 and 501c4 organizations, as long as their suppression file in our system is under 500,000 contacts. We would love to have any folks working with nonprofits here join us and take advantage of this mini grant. And you can learn more about the Spark program at civicshout.com/spark.
And also, Josh, real quick, as you're sharing it, at the very end of this, we'll put up a poll. We don't like to assume that everyone who registered wants to be contacted by anyone. So we will put up a poll as we move along, asking who wants additional information and who wants to be contacted by Josh or Every Action. So you will have the ability to kind of opt into that at the end of this, and we'll make sure to get you additional information as to. It's our way of trying to cut down on spam and unwanted communication. So that'll be coming toward the end of this. And then we'll send the follow-up as well. And if you have questions, you can reply to that and we'll make sure to get back to you there as well.
Thanks, Greg. That's fantastic. It'd be a real shame if we ended this with me spamming everybody. That would not align too well with what I'm saying here. So I'm screen sharing now, and you should see an account in the Civic Shout platform for demo.org. And one thing you'll notice right away is that there's a section for, you guessed it, petitions. As you might have expected based on what I discussed previously, Civic Shout uses petitions as the opt-in mechanism. And that's, so when folks sign your branded petition, that's how they can actually sign up for your email list. So you can continue communicating with them. So we're going to walk through what that looks like to set up a petition on the Civic Shout platform, upload a suppression file, and I'll talk through exactly what that means and how it works, and how you can boost your petition, either using the Spark program for the free 1,000 opt-ins every month, or a paid acquisition campaign to grow your list even more. So we're going to start by clicking this Create a Petition button. And when I click there, it pulls up a petition creation form. There are some tips here, things like how to find a good copyright-free photo, how to format your photo properly, but you really only need a handful of things to create a petition on the Civic Shout platform. So first, you need a banner photo. We recommend just using a photo rather than a heavily designed graphic that includes text or design elements. We found that it converts better, and we think it looks much better on the platform. So there are a number of sources here for copyright-free photos, or you can use a photo that you already have rights to use. So I'm going to select a photo here. I've got some sample content. This is a petition about impeaching Clarence Thomas. So I selected that photo. We've got a handy little image cropper here, so you can reduce the size of the image, zoom in on a hero's face or perhaps a villain's face in this case. It automatically makes the image the right dimensions. So I've saved that cropped photo. We're going to add in a headline. This is essentially the title of the petition. This is often sort of a, tell Congress, pass XYZ bill, or a direct demand targeted to the decision maker. I'm going to call this one Impeach Clarence Thomas. We're then going to add in a description. The purpose of this, as it says here, is to motivate your reader by explaining why this issue matters to them. This can be exact petition text if you'd like. That's up to you. So you can say, for example, the petition to Congress reads, pass XYZ specific bill. Or if you'd like, you can just provide contextual information, sort of making the case for why people should care about this topic, why they might want to sign the petition. So I've got some descriptive text here. I'm just going to copy and paste in. We've got that plugged in. You then need to add at least one issue tag, and you can include up to 4. This helps us know what the petition is about. So folks probably see a lot of issue tags here that represent issues that they and their organization or campaign or state party work on. I'm just going to tag this one as democracy. You can then plug in a post-action URL, often a donation page. I'm going to use civicshout.com, Civic Shout's homepage for that one. And then if you want or need to, you can add a paid for by disclaimer. This says optional because I'm on a nonprofit account. It is required for political campaign and PAC accounts. So I'm not going to use that since this is a nonprofit account. Once I click save and review, it's going to show me a preview of exactly what that petition is going to look like. So at the top where it says demo org, this is going to be your organization's name. The circle there next to that with the green circle with the DO, this is going to be your organization's logo. Candidates often use headshots here as well. The little green bar next to that is your organization's brand color that you're able to specify. Below that, it's got the image, the headline, and the descriptive text that we just plugged in. That descriptive text does get truncated a little bit, but folks can click read more to see the full description text there. On every petition on the Civic Shout platform, we require first name, last name, US zip code, and email address. We also always include an optional SMS opt-in field as well. We've found that on average, around 20% of people who sign your Civic Shout petition provide their cell phone number and opt into your SMS list as well. When they get that, when they do that, you get that information at no extra charge. The sign petition button at the bottom there is also in your brand color that you're able to specify. And then we've got a disclaimer language here, an opt-in disclaimer that covers both email and SMS. So I'm going to click Publish Petition there, and it's going to prompt us to set up a suppression file. A suppression file is an encrypted copy of your existing email list. We require you to import that into the system to ensure that you're not using Civic Shout to acquire supporters that you already have. If you're doing a paid campaign, for example, we want to make sure that you're not wasting your budget, getting folks you already have on your list to sign your Civic Shout petition and sign up again. So I'm going to click the Setup Suppression button so we can head into that step. Civic Shout uses SHA-256, the hashing algorithm for suppression files. We use that because it's much more secure than the outdated MD5 hashing algorithm that a lot of systems still use. So if you have capacity on your team to create your own SHA-256 hash file, you're certainly welcome to do that. You're also welcome to use Civic Shout's SHA-256 hash file generator, which makes this very easy to do in just a few minutes. To do that, you're going to create a CSV of your email list with one column titled email. You're then going to upload that here to encrypt it and turn it into SHA-256. One thing I want to note here is that this process is very secure. We understand that folks are sensitive, as they should be, about raw email addresses. In this hashing process, nothing leaves your computer. Everything happens in your browser. So there's no risk of those email addresses going anywhere they shouldn't. In fact, you can even turn off your Wi-Fi and do it without your computer connected to the internet if that makes you feel better about it. I can't do that here, unfortunately, because Zoom doesn't work without Wi-Fi. So I'm going to select a sample suppression file. This is, I think it's about 11,900 contacts. So I click choose file. I selected that file. Then I'm going to click generate hash file. It's already done. In the less than a second after I click generate hash file, the hash file generator turned those raw email addresses into SHA-256, which is what the Civic Shout system needs. So I'm then going to download that hash file, head back over to my Civic Shout account for demo org, and upload it there. So I'm uploading the new file we just created, which is called hashed 12K suppression. So I selected that. I'm going to click upload hash file. It's uploading. This can take about 5 minutes per 1 million rows or 1 million email addresses in your file. So if you have a huge suppression file, it could take a little while. You do not need to keep this tab open or stay on this tab. And in fact, you could just close it and you'll get an email when your suppression file is done. If it's closer to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of contacts, it's going to happen pretty quickly. So this one, I suspect, is already done. And it is, in fact, because now that I'm publishing the petition, it's letting me move forward. I want to pause here to see if there are any questions on creating a petition on the Civic Shout platform, creating your suppression file, and uploading that suppression file to your Civic Shout account.
But before we do jump into that, Josh, we have had a couple questions. I've answered them in the chat, but we have a couple questions, people asking about the Spark grant. There may have been some confusion. People might be thinking, hey, if I'm not a C3 or a C4, I can't use this platform at all, which is not the case. And I just wanted you to clarify that, who can and can't use the Civic Shout platform in general, and then maybe a little bit more focus on the Spark program, if you could.
Absolutely. Yeah. And thanks for flagging that. So Civic Shout exists to help progressive nonprofits, democratic campaigns, state parties, labor unions, and socially responsible businesses grow their opt-in email communities. So we work with various entities of all of those types. So we certainly work with state parties and democratic campaigns. On the nonprofit side, we do only work with sort of progressive or liberal minded nonprofits. So we're not working with conservative causes. If you're unsure if your organization would be a good fit for Civic Shout, definitely feel free to send me an email, josh@civicshout.com. The Spark program is just one of the ways organizations can use Civic Shout to grow their opt-in email and SMS lists. And that program is only for 501c3 and 501c4 nonprofit organizations. So the other types of entities, state parties, political campaigns, labor unions, folks like that, have a few other options they can use on Civic Shout to grow their list, which we're gonna walk through here in just a couple of minutes.
We have a couple other questions. Josh, Francesca asks, can you please clarify if campaigns specifically can opt into this, or if there are fees or neither are options? So I'm thinking, Francesca, if you can, maybe clarify this in the chat. You're asking, can campaigns use Civic Shout? I think Josh answered that question. As long as you're democratic, progressive, if it's an extremely conservative, organization campaign, it's probably not going to be the platform for you. And fees and things like that, I believe are on Josh's site. We can maybe send some follow-up information about there are different ways you would use the tool and what the fees associated with that are. Josh, I don't know if you have a quick answer or if you'd rather just have people reach out individually, but feel free to answer that question.
Yeah, I'll give the short answer now, and then we'll cover that as well in a couple of minutes with the rest of the demo. But for now, the short answer is campaigns can use Civic Shout. They cannot use the free Spark program, but campaigns have two ways they can use Civic Shout to grow their lists. One is straightforward paid acquisition campaigns, where you can pay at a cost per acquisition of $1.25 to acquire new supporters, right? So you could come in and say, my campaign wants to acquire 2,000 new opt-in supporters. You create your petition, you boost it, which I'll show you in a second. And then we're going to show your petition to Democratic donors, progressive activists, folks in our network who aren't on your suppression file until 2,000 of them sign your petition and opt into your list. So that's sort of paid acquisition campaigns. Anybody using Civic Shout can do that. The second piece is what we call our exchange program. That's another free way to grow that is open to anybody on the Civic Shout platform. And with the exchange program, you grow your list for free in exchange for sending traffic into the network by promoting your own petition to your existing email list. So we'll talk through that in more detail as well. But there are certainly ways for free and paid ways for campaigns to use Civic Shout.
A couple other questions, Josh. Charlene asked if Spark can drill down to precinct, so that precinct level drill down.
No, unfortunately, the Spark program is for national list growth. If you're acquiring supporters throughout the United States, at this time, that's how Civic Shout works. So you can grow your list with folks everywhere across the country. Soon, no firm timeline yet, but soon we will roll out state level geo-targeting to allow you to acquire supporters in a particular state. Geo-targeting, at a more granular level, will potentially come later.
Great. Let's see. One other question: as suppression happens, is there a way to add new issues for names already in the system? That's Don Ellen asking that.
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Okay, Don Ellen, if you could maybe follow up in chat with a little bit more detail, we can come back to that one. And then Sue is asking, when they sign up, what's the first point of contact? And Sue, I'm guessing you're asking, you know, how is that contact made? I think Josh is saying, you know, the different options you have, reaching out through his network, through the network of Civic Shout. I think that might be the answer. He may have just answered that, but maybe if you could add to the chat a little bit more detail on your question, and we can get to that as well. Cool. All right. If you want to keep rolling, Josh, we'll keep answering these as they come up.
Excellent. That sounds great. So we had just clicked publish petition, and now it's giving us this little dialog box to confirm that we want to publish, and it's letting us move forward since our suppression has finished uploading. So I'll click publish petition now. As soon as we publish a petition, we land on a dashboard that's specific to that petition. Every petition on the platform has got its own dashboard where you can do anything you might want to do with that petition. So at the top, you'll see a link to edit petition. You can edit, you know, the headline, photo, descriptive text, tags, postaction URL, any of those elements we just filled in. You can also delete the petition from there if you choose to do so. Under that, we've got this section called key stats. There you're going to see stats on your number of petition signers, how many new supporters you've acquired on that petition who weren't previously on your email list, and how many SMS signups you've got for folks who want to receive text messages from you. You'll also see this big yellow boost petition button, and that's where a lot of the magic happens. So I'll click that button. The boost petition button is where you can take advantage of the Spark program, the mini grant for 1,000 free opt-ins per month. It's also where you can place orders for paid acquisition campaigns, which is, you know, one of the options for campaigns and party entities. Boosting a petition is very simple. Anybody here who has run Facebook ads, you know, to try to grow their email community or for any other purpose, knows how annoying that process can be, how time consuming that process can be. I personally had an experience with Facebook where they decided that my Ohio driver's license was not a legitimate form of ID. And so you know, you certainly won't run into challenges like that over here at Civic Shout. When you want to boost a petition, you literally type in how many opt-ins you would like to acquire. And so, you know, for a paid campaign, the minimum order is just 100 opt-ins. So $125 at that $1.25 cost per acquisition I mentioned. The maximum one-time order is 10,000 opt-ins. So you could place an order for, you know, $12,500 order if you'd like. This is also where you place an order through the Spark program to get those 1,000 free opt-ins every month if you're an eligible nonprofit. To do that, if you have your account set up as a 501c3 or a 501c4, and you've got a suppression file in our system of less than 500,000 contacts, when you type in, and you have a new petition you publish that month, and you type in 1,000 in this how many opt-ins would you like box, it's going to say 1,000 free applied and allow you to place an order for $0.00. Click that place order button, and we will immediately start showing your petition to, you know, Democratic donors, progressive activists who aren't on your suppression file, encouraging them to sign the petition, sign up for your email community. You can, if you'd like, do sort of a hybrid order. So if you typed in 2,000 and you're eligible for the Spark program, you still get those 1,000 free, and then you're paying $1.25 each for the second set of 1,000. I'll pause there to see if we have any other questions on sort of boosting petitions and how that works.
There's one question in the chat from Don Ellen, and this one might be a little detailed. We might need to get back to you on this, Don Ellen, just to make sure we understand. But the question is this: I understand suppression to mean that you are not adding new contacts that are already in the system. but the contacts already in Van might be identified from former petitions as being interested in a certain issue. A new petition might be on a different issue. So instead of filtering them out, we might want to enhance the existing contact record by including the issue the petition addresses.
Yeah, if I understand right what you're saying, Don Ellen, you would essentially be using Civic Shout to learn more about contacts you already have, I think. And so, okay, yeah. And so that would be totally fine. That is not the intended purpose for Civic Shout. We exist to help you, to get new people to sign up for your email and SMS communities. But I think, you could certainly use it that way. And so, if you didn't use the suppression file, or if you didn't include some of the folks who are already on your list in the suppression file, you would not, and you did the Spark program, for example, you'd get 1,000 signups. Not all of them would be new to your email list, right? So you might get 800 that are new. And for those other 200, you would essentially be learning that they care about that specific topic of that petition.
And I think, look, the benefit of using petitions in general, which I would advocate for anytime, is that it can help you further segment your list, your existing list. And to the extent you're building a new list, you get that segmentation from the start. But the more segmented you could be with your emails, the better your emails will be and the more engagement you'll get. It's kind of counterintuitive. Hey, let's send everything to everyone. But, test after test shows that the more segmented you can be, the more you can make sure that your message lines up with the needs and wants of your audience, the more engagement you will get from that. So my opinion and my experience has been using petitions to segment your existing audience has always helped in that regard as well.
Certainly. Yeah, same here as well. I see another question from Elizabeth. Can you limit the geographic area for contacts? Not at this time. Sometime soon, we are going to have state level geo-targeting. We're going to start there.
Right. We do want to kind of continue on in terms of further engagement. Do we have a couple extra things we want to show here, Josh, or do we want to jump to
I've got a couple last quick things.
Yep.
So once you've boosted your petition, it's going to show up in this boost activity section. You're going to see sort of a progress bar showing the progress of that boost to date. Next to that, you'll have the opportunity to cancel that order. I've never seen anybody cancel a free order through the Spark mini grant. But if you cancel a paid order, there's no penalty or fee associated with that. We just charge for what you've received so far. You're not on the hook for the full order. One thing I'll show you here is the live petition. So this is the petition we just created a few minutes ago. You can see exactly what that looks like. Looks just like the preview we looked at. I'm going to sign this petition with this fake email address I have as a demonstration of our exchange program and as a demonstration of how folks actually see your petition and sign up for your list on the Civic Shout platform. So I mentioned the exchange program where organizations can grow their list for free in exchange for sending traffic into the network. So suppose demo.org wanted to grow their list for free. They, signed up for Civic Shout, they created their petition. They would take this petition link, send it out to their existing email list. For every 4 people they get to sign that petition, we're going to get them 1 new opt-in supporter for free. So for example, if they got 1,000 people to sign this petition, we're going to get 250 additional people who aren't already on their email list to sign the petition as well. And so suppose demo.org sent an email out to their existing list, asking people to sign the petition. I got that email. I filled in my contact info and I signed that petition. While I'm here on the site, I may see petitions from other partners in the network. We call this our petition carousel. And this is the mechanism we use to help all of our nonprofit and Democratic campaign partners grow their opt-in email communities. And so this is a petition from a nonprofit called Win Without War. You'll see here, there are a couple options, right? Somebody can read more to see the rest of the descriptive text. They can skip. They can one-click sign to add their name to that petition. And there's this checkbox. I want Win Without War to send me periodic updates and action alerts. The only way you get somebody's contact information, and the only way it counts as one of your 1,000 free opt-ins for the month through the Spark program, or that it costs you $1.25 if you're doing a paid campaign, is if they click this one-click sign button with this opt-in checkbox checked. So if they uncheck that, you're not going to get their contact info, and it's not going to cost you anything. So I'll skip here so you can see, what a few other petitions might look like that are in the system now. And these are all live campaigns that some of our partners are running. And I'll head back over to the petition dashboard and really just have sort of one last piece here. At the bottom, you've got this section called petition signers. This is where you can download the supporters who have come in through your Civic Shout petition and signed up for your list that way. I would, however, strongly recommend using a CRM integration. So you have the link here at the bottom that says sync with your CRM. I'm going to click that, and I'm going to go over to every action. And so once you set up the Civic Shout every action integration, which is just a couple quick steps, it's quite easy to do. People who sign your Civic Shout petitions and opt into your list will go into your every action account automatically in real time. Before I hand it over to Michael to show you a little bit more about every action, how the integration works on their end, et cetera, one last piece I'll share is that we have an NGP integration in progress that should be launching very soon. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to Michael to talk about the every action piece.
Awesome. Thanks, Josh. So yeah, let's talk about every action. And as Josh said, some folks here use NGP, and Civic Shout is working on an integration for that piece. But once you get folks into your CRM, right, with that API key, you're going to have these new contacts. You can also, obviously get new contacts in every action if folks are signing sign up forms there, or if you're getting people at the doors, or if you're using every action advocacy, to geo-target people, that's all great. But what do we do when we get people in our CRM? How are we going to engage them, right? So with every action, with NGP, you have the ability to email people, send text messages, follow up, in person, on the phone. So let's talk about what you can do. And I know some folks have talked about being small campaigns or small organizations, and how do you maximize your time to actually reach out to people, without spending a whole lot of time doing that, right? So one thing I want to highlight is our automation feature. So I am in every action, and can y'all see my screen? Should be.
Yes, we can now. Perfect.
Great.
Thanks, Mike.
So I am in an automation that I created. Folks use this for welcome series. You can even use it to do things like sending people messages on their birthday. It's a great tool to, take a little bit of time, maybe take 15 minutes on a Monday morning and set up your campaign to, or your organization to reach out to people, in an evergreen way. So if you've used every action, if you've used NGP, a lot of this is just, our targeted email tool and our create a list tool, right? I've created a list of people who have signed up. So that could be people who came in through Civic Shout via API, people who have filled out one of our sign up forms, petition forms, advocacy forms, donation forms. However people are coming into our system, these are our new people. And so how are we going to reach out to them? Now we have, I've heard this looks like a family tree, or Plinko from The Price is Right. I kind of feel like it's almost like a choose your own adventure book. Maybe I'm dating myself a bit with that reference, but we're going to have everybody who signed up yesterday, they're going to be here. And then we have a workflow. So of those people who signed up, we can split this out, right? With our automation tool, you can engage people based on how they're engaging with you, based on actions that they're taking, or based on criteria that they meet, right? So we could have this split out so that the emails that they're getting are based specifically on their location, right? If they're in the northern part of the state, they're going to get an email from our, field organizer for the, Northern California or wherever. Southern California, same thing. Or if we're a national organization, maybe I want the background of the email that people get in the Pacific Northwest to have, redwoods. And if they're in Florida, there's a manatee, however you want to slice that, right? So we can base it on where they are, who they are, or again, actions that they've taken. I'm going to send people on a different journey here based on if their sign up included a donation or not, right? So the folks who filled out a petition or who took another action, they're going to go down this path. And the folks who are new to me because they've donated, they're going to go down this path. So let's explore that a bit. If you donated to us, the first interaction you're going to have is an email from us saying, thank you, get involved, right? I've created an email, and anyone who's already donated, they're going to get a thank you for donating, and then a further ask, right? Can you volunteer with us? Can you fill out this advocacy petition? Can you do something else to engage with us? So then we can add a wait here to see if they take that step, right? If they we're waiting 3 days. And if they've done that action that we asked in the last 3 days, we're going to further segment them out, right? If they click the thank you, get involved, and they got involved, they clicked my link to join us at an event or do something else, I'm going to automatically schedule a follow-up. Our volunteer coordinator is going to have a follow-up when they log in to see, okay, here's a new person I need to call. I need to get them, introduce myself, make sure they understand where we're going, etc. And then they're ending that welcome series journey right there. If they didn't click thank you, get involved, I'm going to send them a mobile message, right? So now we're branching out our methods of communication. We're emailing them, and now we're also text messaging them. And maybe they're going to be more engaged with the text. So we're saying, here are all the volunteer opportunities. Please get involved. And after that, we're going to end their participation in the welcome series, right? And then let's go back to the top. If they donated yesterday, they went down this path. If they didn't donate, we're going to send them a message that says, consider donating, right? So the great thing here is you can branch your messaging out based on how you're not sending a message saying, please donate. If you've already donated, thank you. If they've already donated, you're thanking them for that. And if they haven't donated, we're asking them to donate here. And think about your organization's needs, right? Maybe we're not asking for donations at all, but maybe we're going to ask them to fill out another advocacy message or to sign up, to join us at events. But we're going to ask them for a donation here. And then we're going to wait 3 days. Did they donate? If not, we're going to say, okay, we asked, worth a shot, right? And if they did donate, we'll send them a thank you for donating. And then we'll end that journey there. So that is really a welcome series for anybody who's signed up. I can always go back and edit it, but this is something that's going to run automatically daily. And I can even control the time of day I want it to run. To say, let's run it in the afternoon. Let's run it, first thing in the morning. I have control over that. I can control on our waits. Do I want to wait days? Do I want to wait weeks? Do I want to wait for a specific day of the week, right? Do I find that people are more engaged with my email on, let's say, Thursday rather than Friday? Let's wait till Thursday to send that email. So this is a great way to, again, all of this is going to be running in the background while you're doing whatever else your organization or your campaign needs you to do. But if you look, you're getting all these engagements with folks, and really all you had to do is take 10, 15 minutes to set this up and then have it run constantly. So that's a great way, again, for organizations where people wear a lot of different hats or campaigns where you have a lot going on. This automation is a great way to get text messages and emails out to people. And again, you can use it for other things. You can schedule follow-ups. You can apply activist codes or remove activist codes for people. So that's all really helpful stuff to do. And then let's take a look at mobile messaging, right? If we're sending text messages to people, again, a great way to engage with folks. This is our mobile messaging dashboard. So I can send different messages to people. And some of the great things I think about our mobile messaging tool is we can check how we're performing here. This is a demo database, so obviously we're not sending that many messages, but We can also do keywords, right? Text donate to 50555, right? And engage people that way, or text, yes, or however you want to slice it. But this is a great way to, again, use create a list to segment who you're going to send messages to and send it out in a blast. And then you can see how people are engaging, right? Are they clicking the link that you texted them? How is that performing? And then also people can respond, right? So if we're inviting people to an event, I can go in here and see my inbox, who's responding to my texts. I'm including, unsubscribe language. And if they want to unsubscribe, they'll unsubscribe. But we're reaching out to people saying, meet us here or whatever. And people might ask questions, may have follow-ups, right? And so we can respond with them individually, give them that personal touch, but also make sure our supporters, if they do have questions, we're answering them. If they need to know where to go or when, we're following up with them. So it's, again, a great way to send out a communication to hundreds or thousands of people very quickly, but then also have that personal touch as they follow up. And then also just really quickly to show our targeted email as well. This is another great way, as we saw with automation, to engage people, but sending emails in every action, whether they're fundraising appeals, whether they're newsletters, updates, or anything, it's all great to keep people engaged. And it's all, again, in this unified solution at people's fingertips. So we're saying we're going to send an email to people who signed up for an event, right? But I could have a newsletter save search. You'd probably use create a list for a lot of different things. So you can use it to just segment your audience for email engagement. And we can also exclude folks from here too, right? So email deliverability, we have experts who know how important that is to get your email into people's inboxes, right? Not in spam, not in promoted or social or anything like that. As Josh pointed out, a very crucial step is making sure people are opting in and saying that they want email from you. And then further from there, sometimes you have people who opt in and then they never open your email, right? And that's going to hurt your deliverability. So you can exclude those folks here, right? And say, we're only going to email people who have engaged with our email before recently. And that is going to really make sure we're getting into people's inboxes. We can also exclude things like domains to say, let's not send this fundraising appeal to a .gov, but you can exclude any domain you want. And then if we go in here to set up this email, if you want to do A/B testing, you can do that. You can go AJ testing if you want, which is 10. And we're just crafting this email. We have our from name. I put in a subject line. You can use your merge fields, right, to address people by name or reach out to them, say, hey, we're in Boston today, if that's their address, things like that, right? And then just to show you, I realize we're, sort of bumping into time here, but we have a drag and drop editor that is really helpful for crafting emails. If you're like me and are terrible with HTML, this is really helpful to just craft a really sleek email that gets your point across. You can have different buttons in it. You can keep it as simple as you want, right? You don't have to do buttons. You don't have to do a bunch of images, but the ability is certainly there. You can add anything you want here, as we see, embed videos, add text, or add buttons or anything. And then also we're previewing how this is going to look on desktop. We can also see how this is going to look on mobile, right? A lot of people are opening their email on their phone, and I want to make sure this is playing well with that, right? So I'm going to save and close this. And again, the great thing about sending emails with every action or with NGP is that when people get and engage with our content, that is automatically going to update on their contact record, right? I'll be able to see exactly who opened my email in every action in NGP, exactly who clicked on a link, exactly, how much money we raised off of that email appeal. It's all updating automatically. I don't have to go into MailChimp and export my Excel file and then upload it to every action. And then, the whole back and forth in Excel. I'm going to spend as little time in Excel as possible. So this is all going to update automatically. Create a list is going to help me as well. I can create a list of who's signing up, who's opening emails. And with that, I'm just going to open it up to any questions. Sorry, it looks like we have some coming in.
We've got a few more questions. Josh, was good. Thank you, Josh, for answering some of those questions that were specifically for Civic Shout. I just wanted to tag on to what Michael was saying here, what Josh was alluding to when he wrapped up that part of it. The thing that makes this really exciting is when you've got those opt-ins, whatever method you choose and however many you have, the idea is for further communication, right? So you're building your list, you're growing your list, you're doing it in a way that helps you understand what are these people interested in. It could be a supporter, like Josh said, for corporate communication. You're trying to get Walmart to change a practice, or it could be a voter communication or a voter identification tool and segmentation tool. The point is, when that does finish up and when you have that information and those petition signatures, you're syncing that directly to every action and shortly NGP Van as well. And that allows you to do the automated communication that Michael is talking about, which saves a ton of staff time. Even if you're a one-person campaign, you can kind of set it and forget it to have that automated follow-up. The one thing I wanted to, and I know we're at time here, so I want to wrap this up and be respectful of people's time, and maybe Josh, you can help here. There are a lot of questions about suppressions. The overall idea, without digging too much into the details of how to do it exactly, is that your suppression file is going to be given to Civic Shout so that you're not, to the extent that you're paying and not using the free service, so that you're not paying for things that are already in your list, right? So Josh, maybe you could expand on that, but that's the basics. You have a suppression list of your existing customers or your existing supporters, and that goes to Civic Shout so that they can take that out of what they're sending you.
That's exactly right. Yeah, that's the only purpose for that suppression file, is making sure we're not promoting your petitions to people who are already on your email list. That way you're not wasting money or wasting your free, 1,000 opt-ins per month through the Spark program, showing your petitions to people who are already on your list, which doesn't do you nearly as much good as acquiring those new supporters.
Yeah. Yeah, I could sense that some of the questions were coming in. We were kind of digging into kind of in the weeds and getting very granular with the suppression list, which is fine. It's sometimes a confusing topic. I do know we have a lot of Democratic Party people here who are very familiar with suppression lists across the board, but there are some that aren't. So I just wanted to dig into that and make sure we understand that's the spirit of the suppression list. On the screen, which you should see, you'll see Josh's information, Josh at civicshout.com, and then civicshout.com partners, where you can get additional information. I believe we already put in the chat civicshout.com/Spark, which gives you information about that grant program as well if you're a C3 or C4. If you want to understand how this works with Every Action, you can reach us at everyaction.com/get-demo. And on the political side, it's ngpvan.com/get-elected. So thank you, everybody, for joining. And we will see you on the next webinar.
Thank you.
Bye, folks. Take care.